Everybody, let's do a quick video on Solana, but this will apply to all the other major cryptos in the stock market because they basically go up and they go down at the same time, since 95% of all cryptocurrencies in existence is owned by big institutions. So when they set something for a buy or a sell, algorithmic trading then executes it for all of the crypto in their portfolio. So let's kind of get started with what's going on, do a little bit of analysis. So based on the last 12 months, Solana's price action, the dominant signal to the right is now sharp downside momentum. So as you can see, really it's a sell everything no matter what, even for a loss. And again, one of the really big things for me is the volume. I just don't see big institutions and big firms buying. Now again, I'm a long-term holder. I don't have to panic sell. So I'm going to give you some prices that, where you should be buying. There'll be 3 set prices. We'll go over that in about 2 minutes. And while we have high volatility, so over the past year, Solana was roughly between 150 to 10. We did skyrocket to close to basically 250-ish multiple times. Then we broke down and had a hard sell-off in early 2026. In just the past week, it's been down about $78 to about $105, which is just huge daily swings. Again, the market is really unsure of itself. This is why you should not go all in. As of February 7, 2026, Solana was around $88. And the best data only guess for February 9th, which will be this upcoming Monday, would be around $90 if there's positive sentiment, especially from the Super Bowl on Sunday. That is the best possible. Now, a reasonable one-to-day range is $80 to $100. That's about, worst case scenario over the next 24 hours, another $8 loss, by tomorrow. So wider range of anything, we can go as low as 75. So we'll go why 75 is such an important number. Now, if you want, I can also give you estimates on Bitcoin sliding versus stabilizing Solana. So let's go through the very first scenario here. Bitcoin keeps sliding, risk off continues. So the assumptions are that Bitcoin loses another 5 to 10% by February 9th, or the next 2.5 days. And then you see massive altcoin liquidation and it continues to grow. Again, from here on, you basically are kind of in the $75 to $85 range for Solana. Again, if there is a bear wick, you will possibly see a $72 Solana. Again, these are not horrific numbers. Keep in mind, we're in the $80 range, bouncing up and down. So if it goes down another $10, no big deal. That would be the equivalent if it went from 250 to 240. It's just, at this point, we are very close to the bottom. Now, again, worst case scenario, $72. So this is the, everybody's scared. There's no bid outcome. Now, again, scenario 2, Bitcoin does stabilize and bounces off of a relief rally. We're absolutely overdue for a relief rally. They usually come anytime you see a crypto sell down by about 50 to 60%. So if we hit highs of like $130,000 almost, it was in the high 120s, you'd expect, 50% for Bitcoin, so around 65, ish. We bounced off of 60. So that really kind of hits that 50% mark, which sets us up for a short relief rally. So that is expected. Now, assumptions are that Bitcoin chops sideways or pops about 3 or 5%. And at that point, you kind of see a little bit of just an increase in all of the cryptos that follow. Again, so if this is the case, the likelihood come Monday, right after the Super Bowl, so this week you will probably see trading of Solana between $95 and $105, which is very good. Again, even if it's a small recovery on a daily basis, at least you can now say we've called a bottom. There's a zone of accumulation, and you can now slowly start adding on. So that's very, very important. So this is the dead cat bounce traditionally, and then if you see like, sell off back to like 70, but if you see, we bounced off of 68 to 70, now we're slowly going to 75, 80, 85, 90. Now you can call a bottom in finally. Usually what I like to do is say is from wherever the bottom was, because you never know where it is, once it goes up 10% then and stabilizes there, then you can say, okay, that was the bottom. Otherwise, you never really truly know where a bottom is unless you get that 10% bounce that actually continues to hold. So let's talk about some scenarios over here and what's going on. So short term, over the next 48 hours, there's a slight bearish bias unless Bitcoin clearly reclaims that momentum. Again, the best odds for Solana are around $80 to $90. You're not going to see 100. You're not going to see 110. We're just not ready. There's too much fear and uncertainty with Iran, with Venezuela, yes, with Ukraine, with those files that got released by the government, 3.5 millions, what's going to happen to the president and all the other people. Lots of stuff that, and again, keep in mind, Anthropic, that massive disruption by Anthropic, it could cause a massive collapse in the S&P. And right now, the S&P is down 2%. It's not really affected. So even though you've seen this bloodbath in crypto by 60, 70, even 80% on certain coins, we have not seen that in S&P. What happens if the S&P drops by 10% or maybe 20 to 30 like it did back in 2020? Then you'll see some real pain like a $25,000 Bitcoin. So again, tier 1, high probability accumulation between $82 to $85. As you see retail investors step in and then they push as they're accumulating in the $82 to $85 range. You'll see that push to $88 to $90. This will match the Bitcoin's mild continuation, and then we'll probably see a nice intended increase in price. Now, right here is where you want to deploy around 30% of your sole capital. So if you're trying to buy $1,000 of Solana, this is the point, right? The 82 to 85 range where you want to dump in, if it's $1,000, you want to dump in $300. That's 30% of 1,000. Again, for your tier 2, if there's a massive sell-off, right? This is the point, and you're kind of in the $75 to $80 range. You want to really kind of deploy even more because you're very close to that bottom or you might be hitting it. Then you deploy 35% of your capital. Now, again, if there's maximum pain, there's threat of World War III, there's some really, really super fear in the markets, and you're in that $68 range for Solana, then you're deploying that 25% of capital. So again, there's possibilities, but this would complete that 100% of your $1,000 capital. So again, really all you have to do is whatever amount of money you have for 30%, you just multiply that amount of money by 0.30. And over here for tier 2, you multiply it by 0.35. And again, so for tier 3, you multiply it by 0.25. Again, so for $1,000, right? If you multiply it by 0.25, you get $250. So if you have $2,000 you want to deploy, and there's a massive sell-off, and you want to deploy 25%, so it's $500, $2,000 times 0.25. So you're going to want to set those limit buy orders at around $71, $78, and $84 respectively for Solana. Now, again, if you're interested in those buy and sell alerts, so you know exactly when I am buying and selling, just go to oxfriend.com and then type in Wall Street Ox in the search creators on the very top, and you'll be able to sign up. Then switch to tiers, and this is usually the tier that everybody picks over here, which is the build up portfolio. You will get those buy and sell alerts, and we have an awesome community that is continuing to grow. Now, again, you'll also be able to chat with me and everybody else in there. There's chat rooms. On top of that, we are getting, over the next 24 hours, sometimes between right now and the launch of the Super Bowl, you will have an entire top 100 coins list. And they will be also ordered by what is the best purchase for you, what's the safest, what's going to give you the biggest returns. Awesome. And so this is based on the last 14 years of data. It's continuing to update. So it's going to be a very, very smart version of the Coin Market Cap's top 100 coins. But this will actually take account into what amount of money you could possibly gain from it. Again, so it's, if Bitcoin goes by 100% and Solana goes up by 200%, which one are you better buying? Solana, right? Because you're going to double your money and you triple your money in that case. So, some stuff to know. Now, again, OxRank.com is our crypto and stock analysis tool. It also has features for tracking housing markets, where and when to buy, and automotive markets. And again, if you go to OxRank.com, once you sign up, click on home, it will show you the fear and greed index. So you can see it at 8 right now. The stock market is at 45. So this is what I'm saying. If you see a massive collapse in the stock market, you will see some massive selling off. The Buffett indicator is still showing right now that, absolutely, the markets are still overvalued, at least for the stocks. And the ox meter is pointing that crypto's a buy. It's not an ox buy, which is a super buy, because we really don't have those levels of like massively dumping where you see that 60 or $50 Solana. But it's a good time to slowly DCA. And again, if this, the fear is exactly where you want it to be. So you should be buying. But again, you need to follow those spreads that we just followed. Also, if you go down to Ox Picks, you can see my 10K to 100K portfolio, my 50K, 100K, and $1 million portfolios. And you can follow them as well. So if you click on more info, it will show you that entire portfolio. It will show you every single stock and crypto I have in there. And again, you'll be able to follow it and purchase those stocks. And once you're in OxPix, you can actually see at the very bottom all of my buys, all of my sells, all my trades, everything I'm doing. And it's an awesome tool to kind of follow along and see what I'm doing with my purchases for those portfolios. You can create a watch list over here, but what's really important is the DCF calculator over here. Again, this is the discount cash flow calculator, fully built into OxRank, and the earnings calendar, so you understand what's happening. You want to know what's going to happen with Coinbase stock, what's going to happen with Amazon, with AMD, right? And you can show the unexpected. And also, tomorrow, the earnings transcripts capability is coming in. So that is very cool. Now, again, if we go over here to switch to portfolios, and you can follow, let's say, the $1 million portfolio, and you click on any of these investments here. And once you click on them, actually, let me go back. So let me see. I'll pick a crypto. Let's take Solana, for example. Once you click on it, it'll show you your entire, all of your holdings of Solana. It'll show you the average cost basis. It'll show you your current price. It'll show your gains and losses. It'll show, which portfolios you have it in, the transaction history, and pretty incredible. So if you are interested, it really works amazingly. So if you use ticker over here, you can click and expand it. You can go all the way back to all time. You can go back 5 years. You can see all the data. You can zoom in on the data, which is pretty incredible. And you can actually follow and see those highs and lows. Truly incredible tool for those of you that are interested. You can see the prices, the volumes. You can see every single article that's specifically related to that. So if you go over here and you search for a specific stock in crypto, once you go into it, into the details, you will see all of the news around the world that's only specific to what you're looking at. So it really helps you understand if you're trying to, figure out what's going on with Solana, where it's going. And then over here as well, you can add it to your portfolio or add it to your watch list at the simple click of a button. So amazing tool. Again, go to oxrank.com. We are running a special for $9. It's usually $49.99 a month. So you're getting it literally 80% off, because right now during this crash, I want people to get as much programs and capabilities to really recover those portfolios. So whatever price you get in, you are grandfathered in forever. So again, if you get in at $9 right now and some change, once it goes back to 50 and then it goes to 75, once we add those pro features, you will never have to pay those prices. You are grandfathered in forever. It's just very cool. And there's just a big thank you for being an early adopter of our software. Again, thank you for watching. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think about this stock and crypto market crash? What are you buying, and what prices are you buying? Are you also going to wait, or are you buying right now? And what are your top investments? Again, leave a comment down below. Much appreciated. And make sure to subscribe to the channel. Take care.